there are several laws starting to pop up around the age verification being implemented at the OS level of computers going forward. This is one in California is getting a lot of traction. There was one that was happening in Colorado, and then one that was actually happening in New York that sounded like it was kind of the worst.
Well, on top of that, I believe State Assembly here in Springfield, in Illinois, has put their hat into the ring now.
That is true.
It's and a lot of the commentators about this matter saying that it's most of these things are sort of mirroring or piggybacking off of a lot of stuff that's being passed through government legislatures and assemblies in Europe. In terms of verification. Now, here in the U.S., of course, it's going to be put under auspices of, well, it's for protection of the children and stuff. And it's like, yeah, well, that's what the parents are there for to do. So if the parents are screwing up and not doing that stuff, then, yeah, the kids are not going to have it. But the kids are going to not be the ones that have to set all this stuff up on the computer. It has to be the parents.
Well, here, before we let's
right?
Let's look at this article. Let's not speculate.
All right.
We'll do it this way.
Is Michael Kahn a real reporter, or is he a ChatGPT?
Did you see the video about how they found that a bunch of the journalists on videogamer.com were fake, were AI generated? Bellular knows. Yeah, Bellular. He went into it. These are like fake. They're using fake people. Dead internet theory is real. Resident Evil Requiem theory exposes it. I'm going to assume that he's real. And we've got a couple of articles, including, since this happens to involve Linux quite a bit, there's another article, or actually a statement from System 76, which does Pop OS, which is the Pop Linux, which is one of the bigger, more like corporate-ish versions of Linux. So it's kind of worth talking about how they view this. But anyway, just to, for broad strokes, Colorado lawmakers push for age verification at the operating system level. This is from PC Magazine.
PC Mag.
As more U.S. states consider online age verification requirements, 2 Colorado lawmakers want to implement the age checks at the operating system level after California enacted a similar law. So this is specifically about Colorado, but in broad strokes, this is what a bunch of states are doing. And I was reading about how it's sort of like, because of Colorado and California is how people found out about Illinois, but it's sort of like people are starting to comb through proposals in different states, and it's popping up all over the place. I think they found like 25 states or something have similar things going on.
Things possibly, yeah.
Colorado introduced last month would require operating systems to register the owner's age, which third-party apps can then leverage to determine if the user is an adult. So rather than the apps, when you sign up for Instagram says, "Are you an adult?" Now the app would just double check to the operating system and say, "That's an adult. We don't need to ask these questions." Third-party apps can then leverage to determine if the user is an adult. The bill calls for the device owner to register their birth date or age, but for the purposes of creating an age bracket, which can then be shared to an app developer through an API to learn the age range, according to biometricupdate.com. Ooh, that doesn't sound like a creepy website. One of my favorite websites, biometricupdate.com. Oh God. All right. Anyway, bill comes from State Senator Matt Ball and Representative Amy Pascal, both Democrats. The intent is to create thoughtful safeguards for kids online through a privacy-forward framework for age assurance. Think of the children, Ball told PC Mag. Unlike some laws in other states, SB 51 doesn't require users to share personally identifiable information or use facial recognition technology.
Okay, so that's
Interesting.
important in a certain way.
Yeah.
But it also
Mhm.
calls into question how stupid this is. Because I guess all they're saying is you're taking the pretend that you're 18 and checkbox saying you're 18 from the website or from the app, and you just have to do it once on the OS account.
The OS account, which would have to be, the developers would probably have to put something in the OS when you set it up or install it that
yes, but it's funny because, as I talked about previously, I just bought a new computer and I sprung for Windows 11 Pro specifically because I do not and will never have a account connected from my PC to Microsoft or to Apple, or I will always use local accounts until I'm not allowed to use local accounts. And then what I think I texted you earlier is that I will stop using computers completely if this turns into something. I
become a Luddite.
It's just like, well, this will be, it's sort of like if, it's like as 4chan users are like, whenever it gets hacked or taken down, 4chan people are like, holy shit, I thought I was free. For 10 hours, for 3 days, for a week, I thought that I was free of this fucking website. If they like please scan your ID to use the computer, I'd be like, well, now I don't have to worry about using computers except when I'm at work. My life is open back up. I'm no longer tied to this.
Yeah, which then I'm guessing since a lot of work, like at work, we've got our work laptops, which all run in Windows 11. I'm guessing then they would have to be using like Enterprise or Pro or whatever similar thing where they would just do like a blanket across.
Yeah, it's like all of our users, all of our employees are over the age of 18. You know what I mean? It would just be something like that.
Yeah, they would probably have to change it up a little bit. I'm guessing for like schools and stuff because every single school now has Chromebooks for the.
I mean, the thing is that for me, I would. Chromebooks are locked down pretty harsh anyway, so you can't do install most things on that stuff. I would just transition. It would be a transitional period of, well, my home computers I can no longer go online with because it has to go through this age verification shit, but I can install an old version of Linux. I can run everything locally for a while. I'll be able to just have an off the grid computer. And if I need anything, I can download it at work. I could do this. I can do a workaround. And then eventually it'd be like, now I can't do anything anymore and I don't have a computer. So I'll just use a typewriter going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, eventually it'll get to a point where they just have you going through so many hoops, and you just become tired by it and stuff, and you're just like, all right, I'm not going to
be worth it anymore at that point.
No, it'll be like 1992. It'll be great.
I'll be down. Then I'll actually go out and buy pornography like a real man.
Yeah, and you're like, excuse me, sir, where's the local porn store? He's like, what's a porn store? It's oh my gosh, you'll put on the sunglasses like like Roddy Piper.
Would you direct me to the nearest smut shop, sir? My monocle. Let's see. Ball also said legislation was based on California's Bill AB 1043, which was passed last year. It too requires OS makers to create a way for the device owner to register their age bracket. So it's not even specifically your age, but you just check the 35 to 45 bracket. And that was that. So they're in theory, they're trying to make it.
So it's like when you go on what is it? Budweiser's website and you're like, are you over the age of 21?
Yes
or no? Or you have to put in your date of birth and all the kids are just like, which kids don't even go on to those websites?
Well, nobody goes onto those websites.
It's true. Yeah. I go down to the gas station and I have the website in my hand.
If anytime I go onto an alcohol website, as soon as they want me to put in an actual date, I'm done. They don't need that information. A checkbox saying I'm over 21 is enough. Like if I'm looking at a Scotch website,
over the age of 18,
20, even let's say 21, just check the 21 and older box.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which can be shared to app developers. California law takes effect January 1st.
App developers.
Ball added SB 2651 is very closely modeled on it. One of the reasons for bringing SB 51 was that the tech and software industry is already complying with AB 1043. So there's minimal added burden. Basically, they're piggybacking off of California's law.
Has because I'm trying to remember when I installed Windows 10 on this computer. There might have been a point where I had to put in my age.
You logged into
maybe something. I can't remember.
You logged into your Microsoft account.
No,
I noticed because I was like, Alex logged into his Microsoft account.
Oh, hold on. I think I had to do it for something on this. Yeah, someone.
I've never. Yeah, I don't.
But it's interesting how. Yeah, I wish I wouldn't have. But it is interesting how they said that the devs and the industry are like already complying with it, but there hasn't been any like really public discourse or
Well, they're saying that they have to comply with it. Nobody's really I mean, the law already passed in California, so
right.
Assuming you want your OS to be available in California, which obviously Apple and Microsoft will, they will comply with it.
Yeah.
Linux is a different situation. I know that one flavor of Linux, at least two flavors of Linux, have said that we're just putting up a thing on the site that says this version of Linux is not legal in the state of California. They're not changing anything.
Yeah.
So God bless them.
Yeah.
The legislation also promises to centralize the age check through the OS rather than mandating that each app enforce their own age verification mechanism. Fuck that. Well, why? As somebody who's not going to be using any of these apps, why? Why am I wrapped up into their bullshit? They didn't have any issue with porn sites having to do it themselves. That's why, and so it's because Pornhub went around and was like, well, we're just not going to operate in your states then.
Yeah.
Thus raising the legislation which can involve scanning the user's official ID, thus raising privacy and security concerns. The bill also forbids the sharing of age bracket data for any other purpose. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they say that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So official ID meaning like driver's license, state ID, passport, if you would use that.
Yeah, exactly. The only time that I can remember ever like sharing my ID on an app was for Tinder, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Which is a very different situation. Shouldn't need to be 18 or 21 to use Windows or Mac OS. Yeah, but it looks like it's very easy to bypass the age check proposed by SB 26051. The such legislation itself doesn't mention any state ID check to verify the owner's age. In addition, the bill doesn't seem to cover websites, only apps and app stores. So what the fuck is the point?
So I'm guessing. So it sounds like this is primarily geared towards people with smartphones.
No.
Right. So apps.
Anything. It's desktop computer. It's anything running an operating system.
Oh shit. Okay, because I'm still like the old fart. We were talking about me being an old fart. I still keep thinking of apps as being mobile specific and programs.
You are old.
Sorry,
but that's even funnier because it's
not
even
the same.
that. It's not even that. I remember when Apple wanted to copyright the term app because of the App Store, the Apple App Store, and people were like, "What are you talking about? App has been a term forever." I understand that maybe not in your circles, but I remember on IRC, on the Wares distros, it'd be like, here's your utils, your games, and your apps. And there's the app section on IRC to download dubiously legal versions of Photoshop. It took 27 hours to download. It was 700 megabytes. But it was in the app section on Dalnet. So it was like apps but they are talking about your phone and your desktop computer, and potentially
Okay.
even like your Switch or
PlayStation,
anything that's running an operating system.
tablets. Okay, so basically, so really any type of smart technology. Of some
Anything
sort.
running an application or anything running an OS that allows you to access the internet. I guess I would say is what this is.
But the Colorado one sounds like towards that very last paragraph. It's kind of like it really has no teeth, though, in terms of like effectiveness. Or
No,
enforcement.
the problem is that it's the concern that this is a slippery slope. It starts off with, oh, you need to you have to check a box that says you're 18 years old or 21 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
6 months later, 3 years later, oh, that's not enough. I think the goal and the reason you should complain about this and write your representatives about this, which
who obviously listen.
I mean, it's kind of a moot point. And in reality, I think everyone just is going to end up laying down and taking it because, including me, like I'm talking big, like I'm not going to use computers anymore. And then be like, I'm so horny. How am I going to jerk off?
Magazines. What's that?
Oh, the pages are all stuck together. This hasn't been a problem since I was 14. It's although I would seriously have major. I would protest in my own way for a while before I was submissive to this because this is pretty egregious. But it's like, yeah, okay. So if everyone, I mean, Europe is already doing shit like this too. But UK is doing stuff. Germany is, like, I'm sure, right on the cusp of it. Spain was who we were talking shit about a year or two ago with that fucking idiot. Who's their prime minister or whoever he is?
Pedro Sanchez.
Bob Smith of Spain.
If you named a character Pedro Sanchez, if you named a Bond villain Pedro Sanchez, people will be like, that's a really unimaginative name.
Yeah.
You should work on that.
That's racist. Your soul. That's racist. Your eyes. That's gay. That's homophobic. That's black. That's racist. Damn.
Pedro Sanchez on Wednesday proposed ending anonymity for social media users and forcing tech tycoons to provide accountability if their platforms poison society.
So System 76, they're the developers of Pop! OS, which is a very cleaned up version of Linux. Like say like kind of along the lines of Red Hat and Fedora, which are enterprise and enterprise adjacent versions of Linux.
Mm-hmm.
System 76 makes their own Linux systems, computers, and sells them, and but you can
so pre-installed,
and you can download the OS for free and install it like any other version of Linux. So, but they their founder had a comment on it that's pretty interesting. I'll ignore the preamble, but kids are smart and easily learn how to work around restrictions. Obviously, like I know we did. Although your kids your kids actually, I was going to say your kids are going to have a harder time of it because you know so much about computers. But they already figured out how to get past their YouTube block. They figured out how to get around different. I mean, your wife has been putting passcodes on everything now.
She's trying,
much to your chagrin.
They just keep beating her. They're gonna crack like some de novo type of stuff and things like that. Kids, the thing, I mean, we have to give credit to kids. Like when we were kids, we learned how to get around obstacles on our own. We didn't have any walkthroughs, cheat codes, YouTube videos, stuff like that. We had to figure out how to do stuff, and I feel like that spirit, that drive, is something that still exists for kids and stuff like that.
Well, you always want what you're being locked out of.
Exactly. Yeah. Prohibition. You know, that was like, oh, no drinky, the devil's juice. And then years down the road, after like a decade full of like organized crime and murder and things getting worse, they're like, oh, we're just gonna
Just make it
alcohol,
legal.
you know. Yeah. And it's funny too about the whole age thing now. It's like, you remember when like they put out like years ago, it was the MPAA did like the film ratings, PG and stuff like that. Like nobody cares about that anymore, quite frankly. They did that about like, the RIAA did that for the parental warning sticker. And you're like, when you walked into to Best Buy and you saw that sticker on an album, you're like, that's an album I want to buy. That was almost like the Nintendo seal of quality for music back in the day. So, people want to have that like, that, I don't know, risque or kind of like that kind of anti-societal, anti-establishment type of thing. So there will be people, anti-authoritarian. So, I understand it says here that like people that are, it's basically saying like, well, anybody who isn't 18 isn't supposed to create a computer account on their own. It's like, I'm pretty sure I saw a video on Linus of his kids helping to build a computer stuff.
I mean, so
they definitely didn't.
So this is what's weird is that, okay, so these bills require operating systems to report age brackets to app stores and websites. A person who creates an account on a computer is supposed to be 18 or older and attest to the age of the user they're creating for themselves or their child. In practice, this means that anyone under 18 isn't supposed to create a computer account on their own. I mean, it's true. It's a weird thing. Or, I mean, I don't know if that's true. Now that I'm reading that out loud, I think that what they actually say on the bill is that you have to say you're not over 18 and then you can't get access to certain applications and websites and utilities. So I don't.
And it's going to kick you back to Google's homepage.
You click the I'm under 18 and it goes,
like it
sends you to
does.
yahoo.com.
Oh God, what a terrible. I would in that case say that I am over 18 because I do not want to go to Yahoo's website. Oh.
If there is any solace in these two laws, it's that they don't have any real restrictions. There is no actual age verification. Whoever installed the operating system or created the account simply says what age they are. They can lie. They will lie. Okay. They're already scrunching up their faces to lie to social media age verification algorithms required in Australia.
Oh, boy.
I like teenagers in Australia come up with genius way to get around social media ban. Oh, they're scrunching up their face so they look like, older,
like wrinkly.
Oh my God.
We just wake up in the morning and we do that.
I just naturally look like that. Okay, so here we go. New York's Senate bill requires adults to prove they're adults to use a computer, exercise bike, smartwatch, or car if the device is internet-enabled with app ecosystems. The bill explicitly forbids self-reporting and leaves the allowed methods to regulations written by the Attorney General. Practical methods for a bill of such breadth would require, in many instances, providing private information to a third party just to use a computer at all. Privacy disappears. Exactly.
There we are, kids. And who the fuck is this Attorney General that's going to be making the shots?
Well, it's just all of these laws. I mean, we get the gist. They want you to. This is headed is they want to have a record of every person who has a computer account that's in a database that they can look at and more easily look at the backdoor that's been built into your computer and see what you're doing online if you draw enough attention to yourself. Yeah. So that's what they really are doing.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that it's okay. First of all, it's like this is so clearly laws being written by people who have no understanding of technology. Like it's the guy. Remember that guy in the 90s who constantly complained about video games until he got disbarred?
Jack Thompson.
Jack Thompson.
That mother. Yeah.
It's like Jack Thompson is writing laws for these states.
These are the people that are like the moms back in the day that called every single video game system a Nintendo. Even though it clearly says on the box, Sega Genesis. I'd like to buy this Nintendo for my kid. The guy service merchandise is like, okay, sure.
And what's even more insidious about this is that there's a Reddit thread going through different I think it's on Linux. It's on the Linux subreddit where he goes kind of through each state's proposal and kind of lays out a compelling case that this is kind of systematically being done in sort of like, it looks like it's being pushed by one party or the other, depending on what state you're in, where it's like, oh, the Democrats are doing it in Illinois. But then it's like, oh, wait, the Republicans are doing it in Texas, let's say, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so it's really kind of a bipartisan thing, even though depending on your state, it may look like it's partisan. And then they kind of dug down deeper into it and found that what this really seems to be caused by is Meta and Facebook don't want to be on the hook for verifying kids' ages. And their what's the word when assholes do legal campaigning shit for lobbying? Thank you.
Lobbying. The lobbyists, the Facebook lobbyists, the Silicon Valley's lobbyist wings.
It seems to be that Facebook and Meta are behind this in some way, shape, or form. As I said, seems to be. I didn't go through the whole thread, but the gist of it was that it really seems to be that Meta and perhaps certain other major sites don't want to be the ones that are getting fined, so they're trying to brush off this age verification shit to the OS level instead of the individual site and app level. Which
then ends up getting Apple and Microsoft and
then
possibly compliant Linux distros to go along with it.
But see, if I'm what's it called? If I'm Apple and Microsoft and let's say Red Hat, which is IBM, or at least it used to be. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know if IBM still owns Red Hat. Does Red Hat still own IBM, or does IBM still own? I'm like, well, what the fuck? We're $1 trillion companies. Let's fight. Let's all get together and tell Meta to shut the fuck up, and let's lobby. Let's do our own thing. Let's lobby for our own rights. Yeah. It's like we can be the good. We'll have users on our side. They're already on our side. And
Microsoft needs some goodwill.
Yeah, and Meta needs to just fucking go away. They have outlasted their usefulness to the internet. They need to go away.
Yeah.
Shut it down. Facebook sucks. Facebook sucked for a very long time.
They need to get the call.
Boomers use Facebook. Nobody cares about Facebook anymore. They just happen to have a lot of money.
Facebook is pretty much just a marketplace. They're so weird. It's like we have Meta's Facebook plus Threads plus Instagram. It does not know what it wants to be anymore, and it's trying to be everything.
Right. Exactly.
And then marketplace. It's like we're trying to be eBay.
Yeah, now. I think you made that point last time. Was that they basically all Facebook is that it's a marketplace. Just for my own edification, Red Hat is owned by IBM still. That they bought in 2019.
Oh,
so
I'm surprised that IBM's still kind of around, especially after they sold their ThinkPads over.
They had enough money to buy Red Hat for $34 billion.
Oh man, that's some old money.
Who had Red Hat before IBM? In my head, Alex, Red Hat was always owned by IBM. Was it owned by like? Why did IBM buy Red Hat just to gut it to the ground?
2 years later.
Okay. I see. It seems that acquisition has been going exactly as you would expect. So I thought CIT
Cygnus,
Group.
If you go back up, what was it? AOL's. Red Hat moved its headquarters from Tim Durham.
Who owned Red Hat before IBM? Oh, it was a public company. I didn't. Before being acquired in 2019, Red Hat was an independent, publicly traded company. Speaking of looking at this,
so they go public and then they end up getting bought out. That's kind of the plan, I guess, all the time.
Linux is used to run like Apache web servers and MySQL databases, node servers, and things like that. It's not really used to run Chrome so that you can surf the internet.
Why isn't Meta getting beaten up by Apple and Microsoft, like the biggest companies? Hell, even Steam, I feel like, should be getting in on, or Valve should get in on this, because Steam OS will need to have this kind of verification, which means your Steam Deck and your Steam machine is going to need to have the same type of shit. And that's even more dangerous, because then Valve is like on the hook for sales of video games.
Mm-hmm.
Suspicious.
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's kind of like, while it would be a good thing, because I know a lot of people, well, back in the day, a lot of the people who used to run those companies and founded them and stuff like that, they enjoyed the concept of anonymity online. The Microsoft we grew up with as a child is not the Microsoft of today. Same case for, like, you know, we see this all the time with like video game developers. Bungie, they're like, oh, it's from the makers of Halo. It's like, those people are not with the company anymore.
Right.
It's a completely different company. So I feel like a lot of these people are kind of like, they're there, they went through the ranks of the corporation. They're probably just trying to save their butts, and they're like, you know, the government's going to come after us. Which, quite frankly, they could just shut down the government and the internet if they want to, but that's a different matter. But they don't want to deal with any of that crap, so they're like, okay, fine, we're just going to go along with it and stuff like that. And they probably have internally some sort of workaround that they could do for their own staff and whatever. But I kind of think it's like, you know, if we're going to try to fight this, we're going to be having to pay money to the same lobbyists that we have been using to lobby to the same politicians that are wanting to do this. And it's I feel like this is such a contentious issue that you will find that there are, and because Linux is open source and free, there will almost instantly be versions of Linux that look like the compliant versions of Linux. That, like, so even let's say, just as an example, you've got Ubuntu, and then you've got Linux Mint, which is built on top of Ubuntu, which is built on top of Debian. So it's like, okay, we're gonna make Cool Mint, which is just another iteration that strips out all of the age verification shit, but looks like Mint, or looks like Ubuntu, or looks like Debian, and it's, no, I know you're gonna all right, just do it. Yeah, no, I want to say that operating systems are like Christianity. You have the Great Schism, Microsoft and Apple, and then after that came all the various Protestant denominations of Linux.
That's true, especially on the PC side. I mean, unfortunately, in that analogy, I think that macOS is Catholicism. macOS is Catholicism, and Windows is Lutherans. And then from Lutherans spawn all of the weird shit. You know what I mean? It gets progressively weirder.
Yeah.
Then you end up with like Anime Girl Linux.
NiArch. Self-described as the perfect Linux distribution for degenerate weebs, it's got a ton of cool features. A Catgirl downloader, a Dream Waifu assistant, which from the looks of it seems like a pretty decent assistant, all things considered. A material uwu to make any waifu your wallpaper. I'm a 25-year-old grown-ass man that just said that sentence. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil this anymore, but this definitely deserves an install on my crusty-ass ThinkPad.
Point is write your congressman, or I don't even know how you do this. I was actually looking up, how do I write my congressman? How do I write my representative? And who am I supposed to write? Do I write the state representative, congressman, senator, all of them?
I think it's a state senate, so here's the problem. The problem with the state assemblies compared to national U.S. federal Congress, some people know who they are in Washington. A lot of people have no clue who they have in their state assemblies. And that goes from huge states that have large assemblies to even small states that have probably like a dozen representatives. You have to go online and then send I mean, the problem is, like, it's going to get filtered through your representative's office. Some intern or some page is going to be handling that. And then, you know, the assembly. the problem also is like all these representatives that whenever they do town halls or they talk to people, it always ends up being like the older people at some, community center and stuff, because everybody else is busy, going to work, doing errands, buying groceries, taking care of their kids, watching Pat Labor and stuff. They're not going to be going to these town hall meetings. And also the old people, like, okay, we crap on the boomers a lot, but like the boomers that are going to be going to these things, like if they say that their computer's broken, they're just going to go buy a brand new computer that's already got all this stuff, ready to go to begin with. And these are the people that, are the ones that are always adopting the latest version of Microsoft. How many boomers do you honestly know that have any type of Apple products at home other than maybe possibly an iPhone or a tablet of any sort? Yeah,
a tablet of any sort.
iPad, yes, it is a tablet. Yes, sorry.
I want to know why the Electronic Frontier Foundation isn't doing anything about this. Like I was like, there's got to be something on their website. They don't have anything on their website.
It's kind of like how the ACLU doesn't exist anymore, quite frankly.
The ACLU did have something I thought I saw about this. Okay.
Hopefully.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
I just wanted to look about computers. ACLU OS age verification. Sorry, I'm typing around the
age verification law.
Wait. Oh, injunction. So they were doing something on the laws. I don't know. I thought I saw something, but I would definitely expect them to the EFF to have something about it. But I don't. Maybe they do. I don't see it. Point is
maybe their lobbyists got
write to somebody and tell them that you don't like this, or just hunker down and get ready to run a dark web. Somebody posted on
Windows XP.
Somebody posted on G the other day about like how somebody was complaining that like how do they renew their uBlock subscription? Where do they send money? And people were like, you don't send money for uBlock. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, it's the pro subscription. And they're like on Reddit, they're like, there is no pro subscription to uBlock. Whatever you're running is not uBlock, you idiot. And
well, they have some address in India listed.
And people were like, how do we get idiots off of the internet? And my response was, let's see if it's still up there. Is this still running? Yeah. Here.
I'm guessing this person probably paid for like a year's worth.
UBO pro subscription upgrade. I have just upgraded, but I'm still being asked if I want to update. I don't see any visible indication that I have upgraded either. Am I missing a step? Upgraded what? Origin, whatever, UBO. What is this? uBlock Origin. What am I talking about? Doesn't have a pro version or any kind of subscription plan. It's a FOSS project. It doesn't even accept donations. Whatever you're using is not uBlock Origin. How do we get rid of stupid people online? So my comment... Oh, I like the comment, good morning, sir.
Of course, it's default go-to. Where's Kit Boga? Get him on the case.
Start putting everything cool onto Freenet or Tor. We lost all the barriers to entry. That's my comment. Because the internet used to be you had to have a subscription to an ISP, and people were like, what the fuck's an ISP? So then that was a barrier to entry. People didn't even know what that meant to begin with. Then it was like, okay, well, how do I stream videos? Well, you've got to like install this, or how do I add video streaming to my site? Well, you need to use Adobe Flash, and you have to encode it. You use this setting, and they're like, well, I can't do that. Oh, here's YouTube; it does it all for you. You can make any video you want. You can stream it anywhere you want. So it's like all these barriers to entry. If you really wanted to know how to do something and do it, you had to like read shit. You had to ask for help from people. Now all the websites just do all this shit for you, and you don't have to know how to do anything.
Yeah. Well, there's also, what is it, Foursquare, I think?
What is that?
Or whatever. There's the one that Pablo Pablo from Tokyo, the guy, he's always sponsored by that like site that you build your website off of and stuff like that. Like it does. Squaresoft.
Yes, no, I know.
Square Enix.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, to build a website, you can just do it. Yes, yeah.
It's because everybody, like you were saying, like everything was you had to hand build everything from scratch, and now it's like, hey, you're one stop shop. You do everything here, and then we go and send you out into the World Wide Web and stuff like that.
What is this? Stop mentioning Freenet right after I think about it. Stop mentioning Invidious right after I think about it. Stop mentioning Speed Test. Stop shining lasers. What is happening? This guy's having like a schizo meltdown over my comment.
We don't.
If a person has ugly thoughts, it begins to show on their face. I think someone's having a schizo meltdown because I mentioned Freenet and most people don't talk about Freenet. I don't even know if Freenet's around anymore, to be honest. Freenet was like Tor, basically.
Who are these children on our site now? Go away, shoo.
I think
Adults
he's
are
mad that
talking.
I mentioned Freenet right after he thought, like, he feels like I'm reading his mind or something. It's like the glowies are scanning my brain and stealing my comments. I think that's what's happening here. Speaking of glowies. Okay. All right. It's 4chan's getting too 4channy in that thread, so I'm going to get away from that. So anyhow, so
this will be interesting to see how it goes. And, since we mentioned that, regardless of what, depending upon what state it is, it tends to be one party or another doing it, which kind of then just ends up being that, they're both just kind of wanting to do this at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who would hold out at a state level.
New Hampshire. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, everybody in this, like, what is it? Like, there's some country out there that, like, has the largest user base of XP in the world still. It's like Armenia or someplace. Or Tajikistan. New Hampshire would be largest, like, per capita of, like, Linux.
I saw that Firefox was extending support for Windows 7 after they said that they were going to drop it. They extended support.
I think that because the Windows 7 got like a bump in users, like after 10.
After 11 came out. I don't know. Yeah,
or after support for 10 ended or something.
There are things about 11 that I like, and there's a lot that I find it like baffling about why it is the way it is.
There's already been murmurs of Windows 12, which is just going to be 11 with even more, stuff. But yeah. Because what's the support life cycle for Microsoft? Is it like 8 years? Further,
it's arbitrary. It's arbitrary.
It's just whatever.
Yeah. Let's call it.